Second lot of juice.
Good morning. Welcome to our webinar on running effective mail fundraising campaigns. We're excited that you're with us. Whether you're watching it live with us right now at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or you're watching at some other point in time in the future, we're glad that you are able to join us for this time. This is our first, and what you'll see is a regular weekly live hangout that we're going to have here. I am joined today by Hugh Ballou. Hugh is our founder and president of CenterVision Leadership Foundation. He's here today, actually set in Blacksburg, Virginia, with Bill Gilmer. Bill is the president of WordSprint. Bill and the organization have been working with nonprofits since 1990. The organization itself has been in existence since 1986. Bill is an expert when it comes to running effective mail fundraising campaigns, and we're so excited to have him here with us. Bill is a father of two. He's got two young girls, and I'm certain he's ready for them to get back to school. Bill, it's great to have you with us. Bill, Hugh, take it away.
Greetings, everyone. We're sitting in Southwest Virginia in the mountains on a nice, cool day, and we're actually queued up with some coffee. Made a nice pot of Kenyan AA coffee, fresh roasted. So we're gathering around coffee. So we'll stay awake today by drinking coffee. It's in the morning in the East Coast, and if you're watching this on the West Coast, it's probably early. This will replay on CenterVisionLeadership.org on our community for community builders. A couple of weeks ago, I attended my normal Rotary, and this man presented this program. And he said, we've done some research on how nonprofits can improve their response to mailings. And so I had some conversations with the man that made that presentation, Bill Gilmer. And I listened to this presentation, and this guy has a niche. He knows how people can frame their mailings, time them, and target the right people for the right message. And so all of us in church, nonprofit, and social benefit work really struggle with staying in touch with our stakeholders, stay in touch with our community builders, and stay in touch with the people who are fans and advocates for what we do. And so I've asked Bill to come and do this session with us, and Bill will have an article in the December issue of Nonprofit Performance Magazine. And below this video on the replay page, we will have a handout for you so you can read the notes about how to have more effective presentations. So, Bill, that was a pretty good introduction he gave you. I've enjoyed getting to know you in the short term, and I've enjoyed picking your brain.
Likewise.
And so your niche is helping nonprofits formulate a campaign with their constituents. So tell us a little more about that. I'm probably not saying it just right.
It is a niche, and I think it's best understood if you understand how we got into it. Years ago, back in the 1980s, that Todd referred to, we were a printing company, and we had mail services. And we started paying attention to some of the pieces that came through our plant, and how many of those were solicitation pieces for nonprofits trying to raise money. And we got keenly interested in this because these were our favorite clients. These people were out there changing the world, doing great things. And we saw the pieces that came through the plant, and we would design them, we would print them, we would mail them, we would started working with their mailing lists, with their databases. And as the years went by, we drove upstream more and started asking questions about, did it work? Did you get a good response? And we started collecting data from dozens of clients over the years. Cut our teeth on Christian radio. We had some Christian radio clients that sent out solicitations monthly. We did a lot of work for public radio, for college development, for free clinics, for YMCAs, for United Ways, on and on. For the arts too, for theaters, for entertainment organizations that are nonprofit. And we started seeing patterns. We started bringing in more data, and what we're measuring, of course, is response rate, average gift, just how successful that appeal mailing really is. And based on that, we came up with a model, and it's a work in process. We continually tweak it.
Mm-hmm.
And things do change slowly. You know, the recession has some impact on donor patterns. But in a nutshell, we came up with a philosophy, if you will, a model of how to do effective appeal mailings, and it works. And now we've taken that out proactively, and we are reaching out to nonprofits to share with them this information. We're not the strategists. You know, there are people that are a lot smarter with us, developing overall strategy for a nonprofit in terms of fundraising. If you want to use the what was Ken Follett's book, Pillars of the Earth, the building of cathedrals, we're not the architects. We're the people that are out there laying the bricks.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process of laying the bricks, we've noticed a few things that work better than other ways. And that's the information we're sharing, how to get those appeal mailings to really work.
You got my attention with a really important percentage of
yeah.
What works and what doesn't work. And we work with, Center Vision works with lots of different churches and nonprofits. We spend a huge amount of time making sure that it really looks good, that
Right.
the appearance is great, because we think that's going to get us results. So what did you find out? What's the percentage of that in the overall picture?
That's fascinating. Great question. You may have heard of what we call the 3 L's. The 3 L's are the letter, the list, and the look. And in traditional thinking, that's what you need. You need a good letter. You need a good message. You need to articulate your cause well, your need, the impact your organization has.
Mm-hmm.
That's the letter. The list, the names, who do you mail to? And then the look. What does it look like? And 15 years ago, when I talked to people about appeal mailings, that's all they talked about were the 3 L's, the letter, the list, and the look. Well, we started taking a closer look, if you will, at that, and realized those are 3 components, but there is a 4th that's very important. We found, first of all, that the look was not that important.
The look is not that important. Now, you have a graphic design department and copywriters to help people with this, and you're saying...
Right, it was very humbling to discover that.
Was it?
And it took some courage to admit that, and to start broadcasting that out. But what we do in terms of making it look all beautiful and full color and all this beautiful stuff is not that important. It's like a 3-legged stool. You've got the other 3 legs, and the look might be the upholstery on the seat.
Oh, so if it looks really bad, it could be distracting.
Distracting, maybe, but that all the upholstery in the world is not going to work if you don't have those 3 legs in place.
Oh.
Those 3 legs are, and we say roughly that those 3 legs account for about 30% each of the success of an appeal mailing, and the look feel is about 10%.
Wow.
Now that varies a little bit, organization by organization, and strategy by strategy, but in general, the 3 legs. One is indeed the look. We call it the message. It is how well you articulate your cause, how well you talk about the impact that your organization has in the community that you serve.
Say that again.
Impact.
Impact of the organization.
Impact.
Yeah, their money has impact, their
Yes.
donation.
Yes.
That's a key point, isn't it?
It is. And when we work with organizations about the message, the letter, most of our clients are very good at knowing why they go to work every day. It lights their fire. It's the reason they're so impassioned about doing what they do. I would say the one bit of improvement they could make is to talk a little bit more about the impact rather than the need. The need is easy. We see the need.
That's the why.
Right. I want to know. Donors want to know, will my money have an impact? So that's the message. Okay, the list is important. We call it the people. The right message to the right people, like Marketing 101, right message to the right people. This gets a little bit more difficult, especially in today's fluid society. Is your message, is your letter really hitting the people that you think it's hitting, or the people it should be hitting? The U.S. Post Office keeps statistics on this, and they say that 40% of all mail does not reach the intended recipient. 40%. 40%. Databases are difficult to manage, to keep up to date, especially if you do any solicitations to businesses. People change positions. Your letter might not get to the right person in that position now. So we do a lot of work with clients on database management, how to improve the list, how to keep it clean, how to create a database culture in your organization. We can talk some more about that later. But yeah, the right message to the right people. The look, as we said, not as important. The other big component, though, the third leg of the stool that we discovered, and this is the one that not only surprised us when we saw it, but it also continues to surprise us. It continues to assert itself as being a very important leg of the stool.
Drum roll.
Drum
Third
roll
leg
here.
is?
Third leg is the rhythm.
The rhythm.
The rhythm. The right message to the right people with the right timing. There's something magic about consistency and repetition. And I might betray my BA and religion background to talk about, as humans on the planet, what a cyclical experience that is for us. But there's something about consistency and repetition that allows humans to achieve their greatest. And there have been all kinds of studies done on this in all sorts of realms, whether it's professional athletes or great musicians, or it is the day in and day out rhythmic application and practice that renders these high results. Well, in the nonprofit appeal realm, it is the rhythm and consistency of the appeal. And all I mean by this is you get the best brains in your organization together.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you talk to some of your best donors.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you talk to Center Vision. You determine how many touches you want to have by mail with your prospect donor base in the year. It might be 2 times, might be 4 times. It really depends on, might be monthly. Depends on the organization. But let's say, for example, you decide that you're going to do a spring appeal mailing and you're going to do a year-end mailing in November.
Mm-hmm.
Those are going to be your 2 big, and the other 2 seasons you're going to do an informational newsletter. Once you establish that pattern, if you want those 2 appeal mailings to reap results, you need to apply that pattern rhythmically and consistently for 3 years at least.
3 years.
Yeah, we found that after about 3 years, you start to get the traction. What doesn't work is to try it once and say, it just didn't work for us.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why. Let me borrow an analogy from the for-profit world. You've heard of top-of-mind recognition in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I run a lawnmower shop.
Why don't you explain that, top of mind?
Okay. Here's how it works. I run a lawnmower store. I sell lawnmowers. And I send out a postcard every month advertising my lawnmower specials. And you get one every month. What I'm going to learn very quickly is you do not come running to my store to buy a lawnmower as soon as you get my postcard.
Right.
You don't buy because you get the postcard.
Right.
You come running to my store when you need a lawnmower.
Yes.
And the question is, when you need the lawnmower, whose name comes top of mind? Mine or my competitors?
Yes.
The reason I mail those postcards every month is to keep top of mind recognition so that you come to me with that need. Now, somewhat similar in the nonprofit realm. It's not top of mind recognition so much as it is trust. There is an element of trust in an organization that is established in many ways. It's established by the conversations, by the presence, by the branding, by the impact, but it's also established by the rhythm of those touches.
Mm-hmm.
Example, somebody says to you that Dr. Smith would be a good donor, so you add Dr. Smith to your mailing list, and you mail him that spring appeal mailing. Well, I hate to break it to you, Dr. Smith is not going to cut you a check for $500 that spring. I mean, one in 1,000 times maybe. Nor the next fall, nor the next spring. But in the 3rd year, and this is assuming you're doing other things right, in the 3rd year with that rhythm, you've established more trust, and his chances, his odds of stroking you that check are much higher.
Now you've just hit a really key point. In my leadership development work, in ministry work and nonprofit community leadership, relationship is the basis of leadership. Relationship is the basis of ministry. Relationship is also the basis for communications.
Yes.
And so what you're describing to me is a form of cultivating that relationship. You're building that trust. You're building a relationship. So I understand that people think of who they had a contact with in the last 30 days. So it's top of mind.
Right.
So we're even though we don't have a new message, we have some connection with them. Here's what's happening. Maybe it's nice to have something new, but here's an update
Right.
on what we've been doing. I think people who have donated too want to know what's happening
Yes.
and what's the result of that donation.
Exactly.
So I think there's two sides of this.
There are.
Dr. Smith may not contribute right away, but he may have contributed, and he might say, you know, they're really doing stuff. When I make my next donation, I'm going to make sure they get part of it.
And most of the organizations we work with do a couple of hard ask mailings like that where they ask Dr. Smith for money, but they also do at least 2, 3 touches where it's information only. Newsletters, whether it's the email campaign, the blog, but whatever it is that keeps Dr. Smith in the know of what's going on with the organization.
That's a key point. It's and we get so busy doing the work of the nonprofit, like their church, and we expect people just to know it without really. And I encourage people to have a communications point person that manages that messaging.
Yes.
This is Hugh Ballou, founder of Center Vision Leadership Foundation, and talking to Bill Gilmer today. If you've joined us late, Bill is the president of a company called WordSprint. And I've been getting my printing done there for a long time. Never met Bill until a few weeks ago when he addressed my Rotary group and found out he was an expert in what I think is one of the biggest challenges that churches and nonprofits face is how do we keep in touch with our donors and how do we build a value proposition that they know why they need to donate and what's happening with their money. Now, I work with some internet marketers, some really big folks, and they're friends of mine. And one of them sent a message out last week, and I've been watching my emails, and 20% open rate's considered really good. He said, what's typical now is 10%, even 5%. And the big guys that are out there making a lot of money doing email marketing have found out that the open rate has diminished significantly. We're buried in these emails, and I sent up, I want to get this email. Pretty soon I got 100 of them coming in a day, and I went, what have I done? And so the result here is I don't open any of them. So, and there's probably other people out there like me. Right. So let's talk about, we try to do it all by email, but you're going back to the old...
We're going back to paper.
Paper.
Yeah. Several reasons. One is, in terms of inviting people to an event, great. Email's super. Social media is great. In terms of keeping people in the know of what's going on, those are excellent avenues. In fact, our company provides these multi-channel marketing systems for clients. We believe in the multi-channel approach. But when it comes to actually asking for money, it's going to be a long, long time before electronic overtakes paper. There is a trust and comfort level of stroking the check or writing down the credit card, sticking it in the mail. If you do, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Direct Marketing Association probably does. Vast majority of donations are done the old-fashioned way, and will be for a long, long time.
Gracious.
So yeah, we do. And the other thing that's happened is that you probably read some of the articles recently. Scientific American had one recently about the resurgence of paper in terms of retention and understanding of content. You know, they do studies on like school kids and give them the same story electronically and the same story on paper, and then do the reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is 30-40% higher when it's paper.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not, you know, they've discounted a lot of it. It's not just the glare and the screen and the things you might think. There's something spooky going on there. Maybe it's the smell of the words. it's something about it. Something about it. So yeah, we are big believers in the fundraising aspect being done. Now I'm not saying that there are not social media campaigns that work. We work with clients all the time doing things like, crowd tilts and these other things that'll raise money. We have a client just a few months ago that raised $35,000 in 30 days on a little Facebook social media campaign that they designed and executed themselves. So there are places for that. But for the backbone of an organization's appeals, we highly recommend. I mean, the statistics show you do the mail. Do the mail piece.
And what I'm hearing you say is you're cultivating long-term permanent relationships so people are on board for the long term.
Yes.
And this flash campaign you just talked about, for lack of a better word, may be a one-time phenomenon.
Could be. I don't really know the long-term result. We haven't analyzed that one yet. But
I bet
for long-term relationships, nothing beats the letter that you get in the mail.
Well, it sounds like you've lived in the trenches and really done the research. And you showed me on your computer there's some stats that you keep. So you have real stats to back up what you're talking about.
Yeah, and like I said, this is not self-serving in any way, because in fact it says that the part we do is not that important, making it look pretty.
But
But this is what works. If you
Yeah.
want something that works, this is what works.
Well, I went to you for my campaign because you know it works, and you helped me put. I don't want to have to figure it out.
Right.
So I went to the expert.
Right.
And so what you do is you help design it, then you mail it,
Mhm.
then you keep track of the stats.
Right.
And so then you advise me on what to do next.
How to improve it. Yeah.
And you and I are on the verge of a campaign for my
Yes.
business.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about CenterVision before this is over. But
Okay.
I'm talking to Bill Gilmer today, and I'm WordSprint. He's got a niche, and the niche is where we need to scratch. We got a hole. We're not getting the money we need to get from the people that know about us because they don't know the right stuff, and we're not cultivating the relationship.
Right.
I want to stump you here a minute. It's a trick question.
Okay.
If I give people a place to ask questions, would you be willing over the next months to respond to questions?
Absolutely. Love to. We
Right.
would love to share what we've learned, because it helps nonprofits and nonprofits make the world a better place.
Yes, and we've reframed nonprofit, which is the technical word. Really, the technical word is non-tax, but we know the word nonprofit to be a generic description.
Right.
But it's a non-tax or tax-exempt organization.
Mm-hmm.
We're really in the social benefit work. We're providing
Mm-hmm.
benefit to society, whether
Yes.
we're church or nonprofit, educational,
Mhm.
membership organization, whatever. So there's a lot of value that, and I'm a champion for changing the term, changing the language.
Mhm.
Therefore, we change our thinking.
Mhm.
And what you got me doing is changing my thinking about, oh my word, why am I trying to do this? I don't know anything about it. Why don't I talk to somebody that knows
Right.
something about it?
Exactly.
So we're going to have a link below this. If you don't see it yet, come back tomorrow. We'll have a link where Bill's given us a handout, and we're going to do a short post on the blog, if it's okay, about
Okay.
some of the key points maybe from the handout. And then in there'll be a place for people to ask questions.
Okay. Good.
And so we can have an interactive session. And eventually we'll have a chat space up, and we may invite Bill to do a live chat with us at some point. And he can be on his computer, and you can be on yours, and we'll have a session with specific questions. But in the meantime, send your questions to info@centervisionleadership.org. It's the URL at the top of the page. CenterVision, it's SYNER, like the word synergy, but part of it, SYNERVISION, centervisionleadership.org. And just send it at info at that URL, and we will get back to you, we promise. So if people want to talk about this,
Mhm.
they wanted to, and on your handout, I hope you have a contact information for WordSprint.
Mhm.
So if they wanted to engage you in conversation, does that
Mhm.
cost any money?
No. No.
So they could call you up and pick your brain or send you an email?
Yes. In fact, the consulting world probably hates us because we are still driven from that model of being a printing and mailing company and don't really bill for anything until there are tangible pieces of paper involved. But yeah, we would love to share what we've learned. We find it fascinating, we find it helpful, and we would love to share.
And that's our whole philosophy here at CenterVision, is to provide value to people. And then should they want to engage you, they know that you know
Sure.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You provide value first.
Mhm.
Now, you do lots of campaigns. You mentioned a few
Mhm.
types of organizations.
Mhm.
Talk about one that's been really successful and why, and then was there one you picked up that they'd had some trouble with and it was not successful? I'm sure we all have
Right.
success stories and ones
Yes.
we wish we could improve.
Let me talk about the non-success first.
Really?
I'll save the high points for later. The campaigns that we're involved with that are not successful, and this, despite our best efforts, continues to happen. And here's why. We talked a moment ago about the right message to the right people with the right rhythm, and the importance of that rhythmic nature building trust
Mm-hmm.
to make an appeal campaign successful. We say it's like diet and exercise,
Mm-hmm.
that doing it once is probably not going to help you very much.
Mm-hmm.
We have clients who come to us, and despite our best advice and encouragement and suggestions, want to do it just once. It happened just 2 months ago. We had an organization came to us, and they had spent a lot of money on a designer to come up with this beautiful full-color piece. It was advertising a child care program. It was a nonprofit organization, a non-tax organization. and they needed to bring in another $340,000 to complete the project. Well, they just wanted to do it once, one-time mailing. We can't make a one-time mailing work.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an exercise coach cannot get you in shape from one workout.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it because they asked us to, and we did it. And, you know, it had some success, but it was nowhere near the returns and the average gift amounts that we like to see
Mm-hmm.
from the repetitive rhythmic mailings that we do.
Mm-hmm.
That is the story that happens again and again on the failures. The most common story is it fails because it was a one-shot deal.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a client this morning. The reason I was a few minutes late this morning, I was with a client here in Blacksburg, and I came over to talk to them about their mailings, and they said, you know, we tried that scholarship idea one time last spring, and it just didn't yield the results.
Mm.
And I bit my tongue. I almost said, you know, I tried dieting last October 3rd, and it didn't work for me either.
Yeah.
I tried working out once last May, and it didn't work out for me. It doesn't work that way. It is the rhythmic application with the right message to the right people, but with that rhythmic repetition. Now, some of the better results we've had, gosh, I can go on and on here. The Christian radio stations that we work with taught us a lot of what we know about appeal mailings, because they know how to do it. They've been doing it for years. I mean, ever since Jerry Falwell, way back, there's been a lot of direct mail expertise garnered over you know, for that type of ministry. And just by repetitively hitting the right people with that rhythmic message. Now, it's a little different than raising money for a free clinic. I mean, this gets very complex. If you're a radio station trying to raise money, your donor is the recipient of your services.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a free clinic trying to raise money, your donor is not the recipient of your services.
Mm-hmm.
Huge difference in how you can ask and how often you can ask. And you know, the free clinic is going to ask twice a year. That radio station might ask every month because the donor is the recipient and feels like they want to give back.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that do well are the ones that discover that rhythm and keep doing it. The single most successful campaign we did was actually in the arts world. It was a theater complex, nonprofit, and the magic that worked here was there was some rhythm. They had some preceding rhythmic mailings. We did a lot of work on the right people. We discovered they had a database of ticket buyers that had attended shows that had never been asked for money. And so we did a lot of work of cleaning up the address accuracy and the name accuracy on this hunk of ticket buyers. The other thing that really worked was the multi-channel thing that I mentioned. We timed this mailing to coincide with a free radio ad that they had as a nonprofit. They had the newspaper interviewing them for the same campaign, and by the time my mailer hit, people had heard the catchphrase of the campaign several times: radio, the public TV station, and the newspaper. And so it resonated because of that multi-channel. And the campaign, I think it was a 17% response rate, and the average gifts were, you know, extremely high.
Were they?
Yeah.
So the timing thing is very important.
Timing thing is incredibly important.
The coordination.
Coordination of the multi-channel approach.
Multi-channel, yeah.
Yeah.
I understand people have to have a number of impressions before they even remember you exist.
Exactly. And like we find it's about, you know, if you're doing 2 to 4 times a year touch, 3 years, you're talking probably 10 or 12 times of hearing that message before you start to see that snowball effect, that traction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why we say 3 years, because we're assuming about 2 to 4, so you're getting 8 to 12 touches.
Now, I would assume there's some residual results from the first one ongoing.
Sure.
You have the results, but they go up?
You'll have some results right away.
Okay.
The one I just told you about that was the failure, the one-time campaign. They had a very small percentage, you know, less than 0.5% return.
Wow.
The national average of all direct mail is 1%.
1%.
1% is kind of your benchmark. If you want to measure all direct mail, all categories throughout the country, 1%. So you want to do at least that if you want to be better than average. But most of our clients, it depends on the list, and it also depends on who you're asking. Famous quotation from one of our clients when I asked them what their average response rate was. It was a new client. I was trying to get a feel for how their campaigns would run, and I asked her what percentage rate do you get on your appeal mailings, and she said, "Well, Bill, that depends on who I'm mailing to. If I mail to my entire database, it's about 1%. If I mail to my top 20 donors, it's about 100%.
Interesting.
And I said, yeah, I guess you have a point there.
So there are different kinds of mailings
Sure.
as well.
Absolutely.
As well. So there's a whole matrix here.
That brings up a whole different topic of how do you get the best results from your top donors. And obviously, the best thing is the one-on-one conversation. And we look at our work on the appeal mailing side as a way of handling the masses so that you and the organization can focus on those top donors with personal conversations. Because the top dog has got to see you, eyeball to eyeball, and there's nothing that replaces that. So that is not our area of expertise of how to have those major gift conversations. But I will tell you that is where an organization should put its most effort internally, I think, because they know those people and they know how to talk to them, and they can show that appreciation face to face. But nonetheless, you take your list. Let's say you're mailing to. Let's take an example. There's a theater that we do work for that has about 30,000 names on their appeal list, and they mail a year-end mailing to 30,000 people. Well, of those, about 7,000 are recent and good donors. So what our company does, we help them with the preparation and the design, and then we print all these pieces that are going to go out. They take 7,000 pieces, 7,000 envelopes, letters, and those 7,000 get hand addressed on the letter, on the envelope, and get a personal note on the letter. 7,000 of them. They have lots of volunteers. But that's where they focus their internal effort. The other 23,000, we do the traditional nonprofit, discounted bulk mailing.
So it's the same mailing, but it's segmented.
Segmented. More and more organizations are segmenting because you get better results the more you can personalize. We can talk a long time about personalization. Personalization works if it's done right. And it can only be done right if you personally put eyes on it. It's hard to accurately, reliably personalize a huge list in the way that we mean personalization. We're not talking mail merge. We're talking way beyond that.
Absolutely. And I'm going to put a tag for CenterVision here. What we do is build leadership, and leadership is a culture. It's a skill set and a culture. And leadership, to me, means three things. People who get things done, getting results here. People understand how things get done. You've given us lots of daylight on that topic. And then we're people of influence. We want to influence people, and you've said, who do you want to influence, and how do you want to influence them? And then let's time it so that we have a fair chance of getting recognized, and we sequence it. I have a feeling we could talk all day on some of these subtopics.
Yes.
So, info@centervisionleadership.org is how you send us a question, and we'll get back to you. It may not be the instant you send it, and then we'll have a blog post where you can comment with the outline of today's presentation. Bill Gilmer has an article coming up in Nonprofit Performance Magazine in December. You should subscribe to that. Nonprofitperformance.org. That's a free digital publication of leadership lessons, leadership examples from people who have been there and done important things. These aren't people that make it up. These are people that have lived in the trenches and have a story to tell. And so thank you all for being here today. And we're going to give you some more insights from the wisdom that WordSprint, with Bill Gilmer leading it. You've shown some really good leadership skills today. So you've found the vacuum, and you've created the answer to the problem, and you're continuing to evaluate it and revise it
Yes.
and commit to the new result.
Yes.
We think we have it down and we do the same thing. Well,
Right.
it's time to review it and say, okay.
It is a moving target.
It always is.
It always is.
And we're in a society that's a moving target. So we have some exciting interviews coming up. So Todd, I'm going to throw it back to you and tell us some of the things coming up in the subsequent weeks. And we're normally going to do this on a Tuesday rather than a Wednesday. So please fill us in on what that looks like, Todd.
Absolutely. Thanks to you. Thanks, Bill. Bill, tremendous insight. I know that I was sitting here and just gleaning so much information, and I know our members, as they're listening, whether they're listening live or they're listening on the replay, they're going to gain so much just from thinking about particularly the three-legged stool. I love the analogy there, and I think that brings the concreteness to the metaphor. And Hugh, to answer your question, we're really excited. We've got a lot of things coming up. We've got some amazing interviews that are going to be taking place over the next few weeks, and we just want to keep you guys posted on what's happening. Next week, we're going to be able to engage on Tuesday at 2 p.m., and that's 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That's what we're working for. You should be able to see these weekly, Tuesday at 2 p.m., okay? We'll have a live or a recorded video that you can come in there. Tuesdays at 2 p.m. and then on Thursdays we're going to have some kind of Q&A session that you'll be able to join us for. So next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Ed Bogle is going to be talking to us about the importance of strategy, how strategy drives performance in nonprofits. So we're really excited to have Ed on. Ed's going to be live with Hugh. They're going to be talking to our audience, talking to you, helping you with understanding of the value and importance of strategy. And then we've got people coming up after that. What you'll see is if you go to our events page, the events tab on centervisionleadership.org, you'll see an entire list of people that are coming up. We've got thought leaders that are going to be talking to us very shortly in the coming weeks about fundraising, about grant process, about servant leadership, and about a lot of other topics that are absolutely vital to you as an organization. So we're really excited to have you on board with us, excited to be able to share this avenue for learning and leadership, and this is a great opportunity. So we thank you to Bill and Hugh for kicking us off today. Really appreciate everybody being with us, and just want to say, if there are any questions that you have, as Hugh mentioned, info@centervisionleadership.org. That's the place to get us. We can answer any questions. You'll see on our blogs an opportunity to contact us, to be able to get back in touch, ask questions, and engage. We're really excited. Hugh, Bill, thank you guys so much for joining us today, and we look forward to the next time around. Thanks, Bill.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.